Hey, this is Tony Ross for tonyteach.com, and welcome one and all. This is our little Google Hangout. We're having to celebrate the release of our DVD or download, and that's character animation in Toon Boom Animate 3. It's going to be releasing on Friday evening, and if you have not done so already, you can grab a pre-purchase of this at a discount. So check that out. But in the meantime, this is an absolutely free hangout, and I'm going to be showing you. We're going to be setting up a little scene here. And welcome one and all. As soon as we get our technical stuff taken care of. So, if you're with us on Facebook, you should be able to leave comments in that little area in the comment section. And if not, leave comments on the YouTube page, and I'll try to look at those. I'm working solo tonight, so anyway, so this is actually one of the scenes toward the end of the training. And the training is actually, we did it, it's pretty comprehensive. We went from the very basics of here's the interface all the way to completing scene with camera movement and voice and lip sync and all that fun stuff. But what I want to do for tonight is do a lot of play on the camera, especially if you're used to working with Flash. I think the camera in Toon Boom products is quite amazing. So I wanted to do a short with the camera, and I'm going to build out a scene where the camera is going to appear like it's handheld. Like you can get the little record button here, and we'll just move that around the scene. And we're not going to do any lip sync, but I'll at least give our little character Donnie some eye blinks here to kind of keep him alive. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to turn on my key command so you can see what's going on. We have several layers here. I'm going to get rid of my little coming soon. So we have several layers. We have the record scene here, record screen, and we have the bar. We have Donnie, our little stand-up character, which is actually several layers of character, like his head, his neck. All of these are separate pieces. So this is set up for limited animation. And of course we have the back wall. So what I'm going to go ahead and start with, if you notice, even though the record screen, if you look at our layers here, the record screen is actually set up on top, but if you look close up here, you can see that Donnie's head is way in front of that. And what that has to do with is in Toon Boom, you're working with not only X and Y, but you're working with the Z axis. And when we built the character, there are certain things we wanted to do, like make sure his hair was going to be in front of everything. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to bring this record screen, I'm going to bring the Z-axis of that forward. So I'm going to come down and select the transform button. And so now I have a little record screen selected. I'm going to hold down my Option key. If you're on a PC, of course, that would be Alt. And I'm going to press my down arrow. I'm just going to press it once. Now if you look, the line is already starting to cut into part of Donnie's hair. And that was just once. I'm going to press it again, hold on my Option key, press the down arrow. And it's bringing forward a little bit further. So let's do this 2 more times. If you notice, there's with Donnie's hair, there's several different sections here. I can select the different hair parts so I can move them. All right, so now we have the little record frame that's actually in front of everything. And I've got this whole scene stretched out to about 150 frames. Uh, and I think I'm running this probably at 15 frames per second. And I normally do that based on if I'm going to be putting it on online, so it can be pretty smooth. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to set up a little animation for the record dot to blink on and off. So I have this set up, and if you're familiar with working in Flash, you'd probably be using the graphic symbol and setting it on single frame mode. Well, in Toon Boom, these are just drawings, but they have a lot more power. So what I'm going to do, on frame 2, I'm going to simply right-click on my record screen, and I'm going to go up to Drawings, and I want to duplicate this drawing. Now, I'm going to zoom in so you can see what happened here. There's no keyframe, but there's this really little dark line right here to let you know that it's separated. And go to my select tool so you can see what's going on. And the little library here, right over on the right side, the drawing substitutions, it lets me know that I'm on drawing 2. This is drawing 1. This is drawing 2. Now in drawing 2, I'm going to select the little red dot here. Make sure nothing else is on. I'm going to lock the other layers. All right, so in drawing 2, I'm going to get rid of that little red dot. So drawing 1 has it, drawing 2 does not. Now, I'm going to make sure, get our drawing set up, but I'm going to make sure that it's going to remain drawing 1 until I call back on drawing 2. So we're running at about 15 frames per second, so I'm going to go about frame 6. We're going to have this turn to drawing 2. So I'm going to extend this out to frame 10. And at frame 6, I'm going to come over here and slide that to drawing 2. So for the first 5 frames, you see the dot there. The next 5 frames, the dot is off. All right. Now that I've done that, what I want to do is go ahead and create a cycle of this. I know I've got 150 frames, so I'm going to make a little 10-frame cycle. So I want this to run 15 times. So I'm going to just highlight these 10 frames. I'm going to right-click, come up and create a cycle. And have that go 15 times. We'll click OK. And you can see those little lines where the drawings are swapping out there. And there's no keyframes that are here. These are just drawing settings. It's the same way that the lip sync or even an eye blink would work. You have multiple drawings on a single layer, and then you can call those back whenever you need them. So if I play this right now, I think it's running a little bit fast, but it's okay. All right. So we have our sequence set up. And the next thing I want to do, going to come down and going to take a look at Donnie's eyes. I'm going to hold one quick second. and just check something. Make sure we're set as far as all of our settings. All right, so I'm going to grab my transform tool and I'm going to zoom in and just click directly on Donnie's eyes. Well, as soon as I unlock that. Actually, since we've done the record screen, we'll lock that layer. Let's unlock this other layer. And I'm going to click directly on Donnie. And if you look over here, we also have a drawing substitution. So there's several different things so you can actually blink. So I'm going to come out to about frame 30 or so. And what I'm going to do is just use my keyboard shortcuts. And these are built in. I'm just going to press my right bracket key and have his eyes go to about mid-drift. Go one frame later, press the right bracket key again so his eyes are closed. And I'm going to leave his eyes closed for about 2 frames. Then press my left bracket key, go to the next frame, press the right bracket key. So now when I scrub this, all right, so that looks pretty good. I think I'll give him another blink. And the only thing I'm doing is this, I'm doing this two-handed here. I'm scrubbing with my mouse and then using my other hand to call on the different frames just by pressing the left and right bracket key. All right, and here I'll do a quick blink. And pretty cool. All right, so now if I play this, I don't want to check one thing. I thought everything was running a little bit fast. I'm going to drop this down to about 15 frames. Command Z. Make sure I'm clicking on the right thing. And it's just a 15 frames. Now let's play this. That's a little better. All right, so we have that. And our record should play a little bit better at the same time. Let this on loop for a moment. All right, so we've set up 2 little things. We're just using the drawing substitutions. I use drawing substitutions calling on for the blink as well as the little record button. Now, for the fun part. If you're used to working in Flash, I always get into, I don't want to say fights, I'll say slight disagreements. Having taught animation in Flash for years and working with animation in Flash, when I did switch over to Toon Boom, it took me a little bit to get used to. And one of the major things is having a camera right in the program. There's no having to get a new plugin or having to export to After Effects. And again, if you prefer to do that, hey, that's on you. I'm just saying, as for me, I like doing what I'm about to do. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go ahead and take a look at the top view. Now the top view looks a little weird, but it's as if we took everything that's in the scene and set it up on its side. And by default, this long thin line across here, that's every last thing. Everything from, if you look right here, we have Donnie's hair. This is Donnie's nose, part of his mouth. So all of these are different pieces that are set up. There's the bar, there's his body. All these different pieces are set up here. And matter of fact, I think even the little record screen is there. So what I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to start to move things around, and I'm going to come back to the record screen. So I'm going to turn off the visibility of that layer for a minute. And what I want to do is come up and select my advanced animation tool. And I'll go up here and find, well, where's the bar? There's the bar. We need to make sure we unlock the bar. Unlock all our layers. So if I come up here and select the bar, you can see in our camera view here, and again, this is a camera. In Flash, you'd call it the stage, but this is not a stage. It's actually the camera. So if I decide to click and move this toward the bottom, it's moving toward the camera. So you see this is getting a lot larger. And if I push it back behind that default line, we don't see it because it's actually behind the background here. So I'm just going to undo that, Command Z. And the same thing if I decide to select the background, and if I push that back, it's getting smaller because it's moving back in the Z-axis. So the wonderful tool, I was told at the time, I showed this to a bunch of After Effects people about a year ago, and I was told that it didn't do it naturally. I don't know if they've changed anything or not, but I'm going to select this tool called Maintain Size. And then I'm going to select the background and click, and I'm going to push this back. And if you look in our camera view here, nothing has changed because it is maintaining the size, even though we're pushing it further back on the Z-axis. And the bar, I'm going to bring that forward a little bit. And if you see this little dash right here, that is actually our character Donnie. Now to make sure I grab all of Donnie, he's actually housed in this one little peg. It's very, I won't say complex, but there's a lot going on just even with his head. If you notice, there's eyes, eyebrows, all these different things are here. But I can select all of Donnie just by using that little peg there. And I want to make sure Donnie is staying right where the bar is. So he's pretty close to it. All right, so we have that done. Now, I'm going to turn back on our record screen. And if you look, it's behind the bar. Now, the trick we're about to do, where are we at on time? Good. The trick we're about to do is I want to make sure that that record little screen stays in front of everything the entire time. So in order to do that, what I'm going to do is make sure Maintain Size is selected, and I'm going to find, there's the record screen. I'm going to click and just pull this straight down all the way to the base here. And so now it's in front of everything. And again, if I push it behind, you don't see it, but it starts coming forward. And it's going to be right at the tip. Now, if you've ever, I have a tutorial, a free tutorial online on how I animate rain, or how you can animate rain and have it always in front of the camera. This is that same exact trick that I'm using. And we're going to take the record and we're going to parent it to the same peg that's going to control our camera. If that sounds confusing, it'll get simple in a second. All right, so the next thing I need to do is we do need to add a camera to the scene. So I'm going to come down and add a camera. And because I want to move the camera, I'm going to add a peg to that camera. So while the camera is selected, I'm just going to click on Add Peg. All right. And One of the other things that's different, if you're coming from using either Toon Boom Studio, or if you're used to using Flash, you're used to the system automatically ready to animate, like just you don't have to turn on anything. With Toon Boom Animate, you do have to actually turn on an animate button to move anything. So I'm going to go ahead and turn that on now, because the first thing we're going to do is kind of move the camera up and down and kind of around, because what I want to do is I want to give it a handheld feel. So what I'm going to be doing first is kind of bobbing the camera around, and that's what this first peg is going to do. So I'm going to grab my translate button in the advanced animation tools, and so I have, of course, the uh, different controls, my Y control for going up and down, and my X for going back and forth. And if you look, as soon as I started doing that, there is a keyframe here, and that's because we have our animate button turned on. So I'm just going to drag my playhead a little bit further. Let's scale out of the. I'm going to zoom in on my timeline a bit more there. So at about frame 20, we'll move this a little bit more. If you notice, wherever the camera is going, the record is right with it. So I'm just moving this every few frames and either moving the camera up, over, or down. All right. And the last one we'll just do a little bit backward. Okay. So let's go back and play this. All right, that's not bad. And one other thing that's kind of I'd always see one of my buddies, Lamont. I would always see him do this thing of leaving this large rectangle um, on top of his animation when he was working. And I finally figured out what that's for. That's kind of to mask out to see what the final scene would be. I'm going to zoom out here. I'm going to turn on our camera mask so it shows us what the final animation would look like. Now, I'm going to click play. Now, this looks a little weird because, well, what's happening with the whole little record little screen? It looks weird. It's not actually following the camera. Well, that's because we don't have it parented with the camera just yet. So I'm going to hit stop. Let's go back to the very beginning. And I'm going to grab my record screen, and I'm going to simply drag this down and bring it under the same peg with the camera. Let's make sure we get our parenting right. Okay, that's better. So we have the camera and our little record screen, and they're both controlled by this camera peg. So now if I play this, all right, we've just got a little bit of movement going on there, like someone's standing still, holding, or trying to stand still, holding this camera. Okie dokie. Now, for my last little tricks here. I'm going to collapse this first peg, and I'm going to put another peg. I'm going to have a peg controlling this peg. So basically, we've moved our peg, our camera peg, up, down, and just moving that all around. I'm going to add another peg to control that movement. Make sure our animate button is on. And I want to move this camera over to the side a little bit. And if you notice, we have this really nice multiplane going on. In case you are not familiar, by the way, with Toon Boom products, 9 times out of 10, if it is on Fox, their little animation lineup, it is using a Toon Boom product. It's Harmony usually, and Harmony is a step up from the program I'm using, which is Animate. But the cool part is the way that Toon Boom has set up their software. If you understand how to move about within one program, you just take, it's like going to the next program, and it's pretty much Animate with steroids. So let's see. If I added one little keyframe, I'm just going to come all the way down to about frame 100. Because I'm going to do something extra at the end here. I want to pull the camera over. And I'm also going to come up here, I'm going to zoom in. And again, if you look, it's a really nice multiplane we have happening there. So if we drag it back, and I'm going to play. So we've got got a little record button going. We've got Danny's little blink going. I'm going to deselect the camera so we can still see a little mask a little better. All right, and the next thing I want to do is I'm going to do a little jump cut. So we've had the camera come over here, and as it holds a few frames, I'm going to have it jump at frame 110. I'll insert a keyframe, F6, and what I'll do here is pull the camera over, go into my top view. I'm going to give Donnie a nice little close-up. All right, and I'm going to leave this I'm going to actually leave this broken on purpose. So notice we're actually just coming from this one area and going here. And let's play this through. And again, I'm doing something wrong on purpose. So that little quick little zoom there, I'm not really crazy about it. I actually want it to be a jump cut. So I don't want the computer to automatically give me that animation there. I want to actually do a jump cut. So I'm going to stop. I'm going to come back here. I'm going to select this keyframe. This is where that little weird zoom happens. I'm going to select this keyframe, and instead of it being a constant keyframe, or pretty much, there are stop motion keyframes and motion keyframes. And I'm going to do a stop motion, which will literally stop this little motion between here. So I'll do Command L. So it's going to hold here, and then it will jump. All right, so now if we play this, so we have all of this set up. And the cool part about it, imagine going in and almost doing anything from a bar scene to maybe newscasters. So you could have several characters, and you could have the camera move where you need it to go. Even come in and do little jump cuts here and there. And then let's do something extra crazy. What if, let's say, frame 50, we came in to this top camera, grabbed our rotate, and we can even rotate the camera just a little bit, just enough to look weird. And make sure it goes back to normal here. So if you play this back, so we have all that set up, and if you really wanted to do something crazy, we can go, oh, I don't know, extreme close-up. And again, we've got all these really cool multiplanes happening, so. Oops. Don't want to go too far past them. And by the way, I'm also being very careful that I don't, if you look right here where this little yellow line is, that's where the little record area is. So I don't want to push that behind something. Be careful. So if you notice, all of a sudden his face gets in front of the record button, so you have to be careful with that. All right. And I think that is pretty much the demo I wanted to do. Let's turn off our animate button. But this is literally there was a project that my partner Chris Cartledge and I were working on, Black Blood White, and we figured out, we thought, well, how could we do a short little animated movie each week? And what we figured out was if we built a single scene, had anywhere from 1 to 3 characters, and then did multiplanes, we could have this camera move around, do little jump cuts and things like that, and it would actually look a lot more complex. So you could animate, have your lip syncs happening and everything, and then you can just divide up how you want those shots to go. So I hope you have enjoyed this. Let's see. I have to jump over for a moment. And see if we have any things happening here. I think that's actually about it. And I know we're on a delay, so to see where any comments might be. If anyone has any questions, feel free to post those. Um, and as I was stating earlier, we're going to be having, excuse me, the release will be coming out Friday evening, and we'll be sending that download out. It's about 14 chapters in all. And if you already have, let's say, Toon Boom Animate 2, a lot of the lessons can be used for Toon Boom Animate 2. And there's a bonus section for Toon Boom Animate Pro 3, because there is a difference between Toon Boom Animate and Toon Boom Animate Pro. So we have, I think, 1, 2, 3, 4, 14 chapters in all, over 60 lessons. And this particular shot, we go into in depth and go a little bit slower for each section. So anyway, this has been Tony Ross for tonyteach.com. And this has been our quick little hangout. If you do want to still do the pre-purchase, you can reach out at tonyteach/TBA32. I think it's TBS, yeah, /TBA32. And we're still doing that pre-purchase price until we release on Friday. So remember, keep it simple, make it perfect. If you don't have time to make it perfect, rethink the idea. If you have any other questions, feel free to just drop me a line on our Facebook page and I'll respond. Have a good one.